everybody. There he is, full of hijinks. Are you warm, Coach Schad?
Yeah, I'm fine, man. There's not a drop of snow in the air or on the ground. A little bit of false advertising here.
Yeah, dude, let me tell you, that son of a bitch weather guy from Buffalo that put that shit up this morning, that it made it look like Antarctica. And I'm like, oh, wow, this looks like one of those games from last month that they're going to have to move to Detroit or postpone it for a day or something because, you could probably play the game, but it's 70,000 people ingress and egress that hey, you got to worry about people getting home safely. And then I'm looking at the weather and it's 29 degrees and it's going to be light snow throughout the evening.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I just spoke to someone who suggested that there's a chance that it might not snow until 11 p.m. Can you imagine if this game is played in reasonable conditions, reasonable temperature, not a drop of moisture? Yeah, Jalen Phillips running around without a shirt before the game. You had Noah Igbenogany running around without a shirt before the game. This weather might not be a factor tonight.
No, I mean, listen, 29 degrees is not the end of the world. Come on,
it's not that cold. I got the vest, I got the long johns, I got the boots, I got the wool hat, the scarf. I didn't need it. I think the Buffalo weather was overhyped.
Well, no, obviously. I mean, listen, in defense of weathermen and weather women all over the place, meteorologists all over the world, it is harder to predict weather than it is sports. So, I'm going to give them a break there because it's not easy. But, bro, they made it sound like, the blizzard of from the North Pole was coming or something. And
so listen, so now, Jeff Wilson is out, all right, with the hip injury. That doesn't help because Raheem Mostert's still bothered a little bit by the knee. So I think you're going to have to see some Myles Gaskin or Savon Ahmed tonight. But, here I thought the Dolphins were going to have to run it 38 times with this perfect weather conditions out here. Totally overhyped. No snow, not even that cold.
How about the wind? How bad's the wind?
It's not even windy. The flags are hardly even moving. All right.
Wow.
In my opinion, Tua Tagovailoa should be able to throw as many 50-yard passes to Tyreek Hill as he desires tonight.
Well, that sounds good. I like completing a lot of 50-yard passes to Tyreek or to Waddle. Well,
the guys are laughing at me. They say, "Oh yeah, there's no wind in the press box." Well, it's true,
obviously. But Joe, what I'd like to see is for them to spread the ball out. Also, there was a little too much forcing into Tyreek last week. Especially early on, there were times where Tyreek was covered by multiple people, and you're like, yo, dude, there's got to be other people freed up. And he kind of was forcing the issue last week a little bit.
Yeah, I spoke to Mike Gesicki this week for the first time in his career. He's gone 3 weeks without a catch. Coming into this game, anticipating the frigid conditions, the ice, the snow, the storm of the century, I thought, listen, Gesicki be a nice play. So the over-under was like 16 yards. I still like Gesicki over 16 yards. Coming in, I thought that the passing numbers and the receiving numbers for Tyreek Hill and Tua were a little bit high when I was looking at some of the what do they call that? The Bees, what do they call it when you have the game day special? What is that called? Like the how many over-under yards?
Prop bet?
Prop bets.
Oh, prop bets. Yeah.
Adam Beasley is an expert in this area. Me, not so much.
Yes. Well, okay. All right. Let's see if they can get Gesicki involved.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't understand is he is a weapon. And if you're an offensive mind, can't you find a way to include a guy that is a big target and can make any quarterback's life just a little easier? You know what I mean? But today,
here's what I think it is. I think Tyreek Hill is option 1A and 1B. Jalen Waddle is option 1C and 2C and 2D. And then by the, Gesicki is like so far off the radar.
I know.
It's hard to get to him. Sherfield is 3E and 3F. You know what I'm saying?
But you should use Sherfield. Look, you see what the Bills did. They're injecting Cole Beasley back into their lineup. And why? Because they need
Scratch today.
Oh,
but
really?
Yes. Beasley scratch, right?
He's
not Adam Beasley. Oh, correction. You're right. Cole Beasley is active.
Right. So yeah, they've injected him into the lineup. And so now they've got their possession guy that they need to help move the chains. And for me, Trent Sherfield he can actually make some big plays for you too. But Sherfield, I would love to use him as that guy also, kind of a safety valve, for you. He should be involved a little bit more, Joe.
So, considering that the weather has become a non-factor, do you think that is actually an advantage or a disadvantage? Because all week we went in thinking, all right, it's going to slow down the Bills' offense, slow down Stephon Diggs, and now it's like this is totally different than what we expected.
Joe, I wouldn't call anything an advantage. You're playing on a short week, you're traveling, you're on the road, you're in a hostile situation.
They're tired.
So it can't be an advantage. What it is it's just one less hurdle that you have now, in other words. That's all it is. Because you're on the road. It's still a short week. You're still in a hostile situation. You're still playing a hell of a team. So the good thing is it got a little easier to try to accomplish this. That's what
one thing I thought of is that if it does snow in the second half, so let's say it starts to snow at halftime and you get 6 inches on the ground in the middle of the fourth quarter, the Dolphins didn't have the opportunity to test out these trunk loads of cleats that they brought. They were going to practice with the various cleats and figure out which ones they liked in the pregame. Don't get a chance to do that. I had about, I had about 8 to 10 years of driving experience in the snow. And some of these young fellas on the beat, they've never driven in snow. The David Feronises of the world, the Daniel Ufusis. All right. And so they had a lot of questions. Hey, what do we do? How fast can I drive? Do I get to wipe, use the snow brush? So what I'm saying is if the snow does come into play, it might freak some of these guys out. I don't mean Ufusi and Feronis. I mean the Dolphins.
No, I know you guys are all flustered already. I mean, that's already part of the game for the rest of the meteors there. You know what I mean? So I get that. How
did you see my photo? That's me. That's me before the game. You see that?
I wish you would have sent it to us because we would have put it up on the thing. Next time, send it to me.
You guys have a fancier production than something I would put together. I get it.
Okay, so how would you attack this Buffalo defense?
Oh, boy. All right, well, you have to imagine, Big O, that the Bills are going to use some of the strategies that the Chargers used in the last game, where they used that inside leverage to try to take away the middle of the field. And especially coming into this game, thinking it was going to be windy and snowy, all that false advertising. And so they were going to try to take away the middle of the field, the short throws. And so maybe kind of flip the script on them and try to go with a combination of deep go routes to the Tyreek Hills and Jalen Waddles of the world, combined with a bunch of passes to the running backs. And that would be a little bit of Mostert, but also let's get Ahmed and Gaskin involved, as well as some quick outs to Mike Gesicki and some option routes to Mike Gesicki. I like the over. I'm not a gambler, all right? 3 straight games, 0 catches. I like Mike Gesicki to have more than the 16 yards that I've seen out there.
So you think he's going to be I listen, red zone, he would be one of my fade options, dude. You know what I mean? And Tua's already
he's only been third down in red zone, but how about getting him involved a little bit in the middle of the field,
I agree. I have no problem.
The quick outs,
but I'm saying if you're going to use him limited, at least red zone, bro, where he could make an enormous, impact for you. That's what I would do with him. It's just amazing that they don't use him, at all. So, how healthy is Waddle? Because he was dealing with the ankles.
I think he's okay. They activated Braylon Sanders for special teams and as an emergency replacement if there's any problems with Waddle or Tyreek Hill, because Sanders is a speed guy, the undrafted rookie. I think they're okay. I don't know. I think the Dolphins' best chance in this game is to attack the interior of the Bills' offensive line. I've seen the guards get abused in some games this year, and I think it's really important that Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer and Jalen Phillips, when he sometimes lines up on third down over the guard, that they destroy the Bills' guards, because they don't have a lot of weaknesses, but that's a weakness right there.
How concerned should the Dolphin Nation be about Teron Armstead, hearing that he now has a knee to go along with the peck and the toe?
Listen, Teron Armstead with a knee, a peck, and a toe is better than Greg Little or anybody else you're going to trot out there. Eric Fisher, who hasn't played in more than a year. Listen, he had one bad play last week. I did not do the tape, don't lie. Wasn't feeling up to it, but I know he had one bad play. But I don't think the tape was terrible. So he's not going to be the player that he is healthy, but good enough. Novon Miller helps, right?
Yes, definitely. How far are you from the field? Is the press box? You guys far as hell?
No, we're kind of in one of the end zones. The Bills are wearing their all red uniforms, which I really don't like at all. Red jerseys and red pants. Don't like that. The Dolphins Dolphins go with the white pants and white shirts. This reminds me of the what do they call it? The color rush. I never liked that color rush.
So people were asking, is this a disadvantage for the Dolphins? Because they're in the snow and then they're all white.
Yeah, but there's no snow.
Okay, but there's no snow.
If it does snow.
But if it does snow, right? But then again, is it also an advantage when you're on defense because you've got the invisible men playing defense? See? It's kind of like the polar bear in the snowstorm. You know what I'm saying?
Very underrated, underdiscussed element to this game. The Dolphins have a player nicknamed Snowman and a player who does the penguin dance.
Exactly. Now, here's the follow-up to this, and you need to write a story about it. Okay? The Bills have a white, blue, and red helmet. Lots of teams, even the Cincinnati Bengals, whipped out the white Bengal helmet. Lots of teams have a separate helmet, a second helmet. The Dolphins do not use an aqua or an orange helmet. Should they, and we should ask Tom Garfinkel this, should they now add an alternate helmet for situations like this, where if they have to wear the white jersey, they can still wear a colored helmet to help themselves in situations like this? Just like the Bills, when they build their new stadium, the idiots should have a roof. So that way the roof is on all the time, even through the storm. And then when the game is played, you can open the roof during the game and let the elements in at that time. That would make a lot of sense. You know what I mean? So does it make sense?
No, I don't like the alternate helmet.
It's not a matter whether it's not a fashion statement, Joe.
Well, I'm telling you, I oppose your idea.
It's for strategy, my brother. I'm not talking about.
I don't like it. Remember Vinny Testaverde? Wasn't he colorblind? They had a problem with the jersey. It was right.
Well, don't draft a colorblind player, but draft one that knows colors.
How many games did the Dolphins wear? How many games did the Dolphins wear throwbacks this year? 3 or 4, right? 3.
I know. You're not. I don't think you're allowed that many, Joe. I think it's only like twice. Yeah,
guys, do you know how many games the Dolphins wear throwbacks this year?
I think it's only twice, Joe.
2. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the max. I think you can only wear your throwbacks twice. But my point is, even if you don't like an aqua helmet,
well, I want to change that. I want to wear the throwbacks 4 to 6 times a year.
No, the throwback should be worn 17 times a year. Okay? Throwback should be like, they should get rid of that stinking whale, is what they need to do. I'm just saying.
I was very opposed
for snow days like this. That's all I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying.
I was very opposed to the current helmet design, but I kind of gotten used to it. I don't mind it now.
Oh, I don't mind the helmet design. I kind of like it. I just hate the logo. I can't stand this logo. It's just
that's what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about the new helmets.
No. I'm saying that I kind of gotten used to the dolphin that goes up.
The whale. Okay. All right. What's the prediction? What happens?
Wow. We don't make predictions in the newspaper anymore.
Well, but, you don't have a lot of space to write in the newspaper anymore.
57 out of 59 predictors chose the Bills.
Oh, no, I know. Everybody's picking the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, I have a theory that the Dolphins are going to play well.
Me too.
Because nobody expects them to. It's like an us against the world. All the pressure is gone. They don't need to. They can lose this game and next week, and all they got to do is win the last two. They're still in the playoffs. So there's been a lot of psychology.
Well enough to win, Joe. Do they play well enough to win?
Nah, probably not.
Okay.
But I'm going to say they cover in a surprise. I'm going to say something like 24, 20, or 21. 3 or 4 point.
Okay.
3 or 4 point differential.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe. Catch his work there at the Palm Beach Post. Joe, be safe in your travels, my friend. We shall talk in the post-game show.
All right, see you.
You got it. There you go.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.